Hey everybody, Richard from Rich Pokebets here. How are you all doing today? I have a video today. It's kind of a redo of what I did for my very first video of the channel when we took a look at the top 100 cards from the Scarlet and Violet era. So these are top 100 based off of money value, based off of TCG market price, and not any sort of opinion of what cards I like the most or anything like that, strictly just off market price. So we're gonna go ahead and dive into that. We're gonna go a little bit faster this time than we did last time because it was almost a 20-minute video, and I don't wanna waste 20 minutes of your time. But before we get started, if you like the content, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite cards are from the top 100. And if you want to see a part 2 with Sword and Shield to be able to compare, let me know. And if we get, 25 likes on the video, I'll go ahead and do it. How about that? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our number 100. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of go through these pretty quickly. I'll stop on a few that I want to call out and like. But we'll just start at number 100. We have the Scarlet EX going for $15.73. In my previous video I made back in June, the lowest one was just above $11. So pretty cool to see already like a 40% increase on the lower value, the number 100 spot from right away. But you can see based on these 10 cards, and we're going to be showing like 10 by 10 until we get to the top 10, we have cards from so many different sets. So we have Paldea Evolve, Shrouded Fable, we have a Stamped Pokemon Center promo, Paradox Rift, Paladin Fates 151, is the Power Graphs, yeah, it's Shrouded Fable as well too. Yeah, so we're gonna see a lot of sets are represented pretty well with the exception of like maybe one or two. So we're gonna see a lot of change there. From this top 10, that Steelix card is still just so money to me. It's a card that I could see being closer to $20 by the end of the year. I know we're getting pretty close, but by the end of 2025, like it's going to be a valuable card as Paradox Rift starts to shoot up. I would say even same with that Goldango. Personally, not one of my favorites, but I do love that Steelix. Here we have numbers 90 through 81. We're going to see some more special illustration rares pop up here with the Iron Boulder, the Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon. We have the Iron Hands as well in the Sinistra as far as special illustrations go, and then Erica's Invitation being the only trainer special illustration in the set. We also have the Monkey Dory, I forgot about that. My favorite from this is that Dragonair. I do love the blue, and I do think it's an underrated card. The Iron Hands, I made this call out before in the last video. The reason it's so high right now is because it's so competitive. I do think the art is pretty cool. I think it's hilarious him running through all these walls and you see the holes in the background, kind of like a Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner cartoon back in the day, 30 years ago, whenever that was made. I think it's a great looking card. $19 might be a little bit too much. I would say probably more between that $10 and $15, but the card itself is very competitive, which is why it is higher up there. Same with that gold Teal Mask Ogerpon. Gold cards don't get too much love. We will see a lot in this top 100, but that's mainly because of their playability. We do have the Charizard there, and that's just because it's a Charizard. That's why it's expensive, but good looking card from Obsidian Flames. From number 80 through 71, we see our first card eclipsing that $20 mark, and that is the gold. I'm going to probably butcher. I want to say Steel Energy. Is it not Steel? Anyways, Normal Energy. I call it normal just because that was the energy that I had growing up in the original sets. But anyways, that's the first card eclipsing $20. And this is mainly because it's incredibly hard to pull. Shrouded Fable has some really, really difficult pull rates. That's why we do see a lot of Shrouded Fable cards. We see the Duskull there as well too. But because of the difficult pull rates and with it being a hyper rare, I think it's like 1 in 100 packs or close to it for you to get a gold. And that's why it's a higher card. We see some 151 cards here with the second evolutions of the starters with War Turtle and Ivysaur. And we also see that Pikachu card, which has pretty consistently stayed around that $20, $25 card mark. And so if you don't have one, it's pretty affordable right now for it being such a great card. It's got, I think I counted one time, like 13 different Pokemon in there. You have Gengar, Jigglypuff, Growlithe, Pikachu, Psyduck, Pidgey. I'll let you see the rest for yourself, but it's got a lot of cards in there, which makes it such a beautiful card. And then we've got a couple more golds with the Area Zero Underdepths and the Terapagos. These are from the newest set, probably will go down in the foreseeable future for sure. Numbers 70 through 61. This is honestly one of my favorite pages when I was looking at these. I do think the Houndoom and the Persian from Shrouded Fable are some amazing illustration rares in the Scarlet and Violet era. I am surprised. The Persian itself, I would have taken as a special illustration rare. I think it's that worthy of that tier in the art, but I'm happy it's an illustration rare because it is cheaper and then easier to pull. I haven't personally opened Shrouded Fable myself, but I will probably buy one myself, a Persian, sooner or later. We also have the Ghastly, which is one of my favorite cards from why am I blanking? Temporal Forces. And then the Chi Yu, I think, is an amazing looking special illustration rare. This card, we saw it shoot up to almost $40 when we had that spike in prices around May, but has since dipped down quite a bit to just stay above $20 for now. I think it's a card that's going to shoot up, especially with Paldea Evolve being one of the most, if not the most popular main series set of the Scarlet and Violet era. So go ahead and get your hands on that. And then we have some popular trainer cards as well with Miriam and Iono. Not the number one Iono here, but if you're looking for an Iono special illustration rare, $22 is pretty affordable. At numbers 60 through 51, we're going to see, again, some more special illustration rares. We have the Bianca's Devotion, Petraran, Alteria, Okidogi, Dashbun, and Briar special illustration rares on this page. I actually just pulled the Alteria myself. I will post it in a future video. So spoilers, sorry for that. But it was a great looking card, PSA 10 worthy. So I am looking forward to grading that myself and hopefully getting a pretty good return. But if not, I've got a pretty nice raw card myself. We also have the Charmeleon, which is probably one of my favorite illustration rares from Scarlet and Violet 151. I love that background and I love the little fire family, so that's pretty great. And then we have the Tyranitar from Paldea Evolved. Like I said, one of the more popular sets. We've seen this get close to $40. It's dropped back down, but it's still one of the more expensive illustration rares from that set, and one to definitely try to get before the price keeps going up and up and up. We finally reached our halfway mark at number 50. We have the Buddy Buddy Poffin. Like I mentioned, some of these gold cards we're going to see in this top 100 are playable. Buddy Buddy Poffin is an incredibly playable card in the TCG. So people love to bling up their decks instead of playing the regular Buddy Buddy Poffin. They love having a gold card instead. So that is why we see a higher price with this. A couple cards on here that I haven't called out yet are the Pokemon Center exclusives. So you can see the Koraidon and the Pikachu on this are about $29 and about $32 respectively. Pokemon Center stamps, you can only get these cards from buying an ETB at the Pokemon Center. If you buy an ETB, it comes with these cards by itself, but it doesn't have any sort of stamp. But you can only get the stamp from the Pokemon Center website from those ETBs. And because those sell out pretty quickly, we see these shoot up in value quite a bit. And so for investing purposes, if you want to buy something that you can turn around pretty quickly, I think a Pokemon Center ETB is just that, because the Koraidon itself, it's a $60 ETB if you buy. It's going for about $30 if you had bought it originally. So that means you get 11 packs for $30. Like pretty good steal right there. And I know the Pikachu one, the Paldea Evolved one, is going for about $100 in ETB. So you could have already way more than 50% your money just by buying the Paldea Evolved ETB. And then at 45, we see our very first and only A-Spec, the Prime Catcher, going for about $30 right now. And I know that's dipped quite a bit since I pulled this, but I kept it there just because I didn't want to have to rearrange everything. I'll admit I'm lazy. And then we see a couple cards from the new set, Stellar Crown, the Galvantula Special Illustration Rare, which I do think is really cool, but I think will go down. And then we have the Bulbasaur as well too. And that's been floating around $30, $35 since its release. I can see it dip closer to $25 because the pool rates are, I don't want to say easy, but just because there's not too many illustration rares in the set, you're going to get a Bulbasaur eventually if you're going to open like a case or two. And I just want to call out at number 41, the most underappreciated special illustration rare. I think in the Scarlet and Violet era is that Alakazam, going for about $33. I think this is a $50 card super easily, but yeah, that's just my opinion. I absolutely love the art on this card. Numbers 40 through 31. So we're getting pretty close to that $40 mark. We have some pretty popular cards right now. You're going to see as we get further and further, the more popular cards in the era as far as like likability and price and some playability as well too. So we see a Charizard card here. That's just the full art from 151. We see the illustration rare of the Charmander from 151 as well too. And we're starting to see some bigger hits from Temporal Forces. So Temporal Forces doesn't have that huge money card. It has, I guess, like the Raging Bolt's an expensive card, but it doesn't have this $100 plus card. What it does have is a lot of well-valued special illustration rares. On this page alone, we see the Iron Leaves, we see the Gouging Fire, and Morty's Conviction. 3 cards that are very popular. The Iron Crowns looks really cool. The Gouging Fire is basically the ancient form of Entei that a lot of people love, and the Morty's Conviction has the Gengar that people love. These 3 cards and the whole Temporal Forces set, I think will go up in value over the next year and a half. And so if you want to get these cards now and see some sort of profit, go ahead and do it. Or if you're just looking to master your set, get them low while you can. My favorite by far and away on this page is that Sleeping Raichu from Paldea Evolved. I absolutely love that card. I had to trade a lot for it. I did buy it, I don't want to say at its peak, but I did buy it at around like $42, $43. As far as like trade value goes, I actually traded, we'll see it on the next page, but a Parent special illustration rare and got some cash compensation for the Raichu. So I was happy with that just because I'm not really collecting Twilight Masquerade, and I pulled Parent out of a 1-pack blister out of sheer luck. So it's a win-win. Here we go. We have the Squirtle, probably one of the most popular cards right now from Stellar Crown, just because it's the recent set and it's a starter Gen 1 Pokemon. I think the card itself looks amazing. It pairs really well with the Bulbasaur from a couple pages ago. Here you go at number 46. And we'll see it later, the Charmander promo ETB. But the Squirtle is an amazing card. We see the Zapdos, which is an amazing special illustration rare from 151 as well. And if you actually just kind of look at the rest of the page, outside of the Eevee and Squirtle, which are both incredibly popular Gen 1 Pokemon, we only see special illustration rares in this list of 10. So we have Venusaur, Zapdos from 151. We have the Walking Wake from Temporal Forces. We have Roaring Moon from Paradox Rift, the Charizard from Obsidian Flames, this being only the second card from Obsidian Flames and also the last. And so Obsidian Flames, overall, not a great set if you're looking to rip. Pretty easy to master. I think you can spend $250 to get a master set. So if you really do want to go that way, I do recommend buying. Usually I recommend opening a couple booster boxes and then opening the rest of the set. But since this set is so cheap, you could get $1 SIR or $2 SIR from opening. So not worth. Just buy the cards if you're interested in Obsidian Flames. All right, here is our top 20. So we have passed that $50 mark, and we're going to see prices start to jump quite a bit. You can see from number 20 to number 11, we go from $50 to $71. So we have the Groudon here, which is, I believe, the number 1 chase in Paradox Rift. We have a few 151s here. I mentioned that Charmander promo ETB. You can see where my mouse is. It is a Pokemon Center stamp. I think this is way overpriced personally. $57, about for an ETB promo. Even though the Snorlax is just right behind it, I wouldn't spend that much money for it personally. Unless you are looking to just collect them all, go ahead and do it. But I think it's overhyped, overpriced right now. I can see it dropping closer back to 40, 45. My favorite from this is probably the Raging Bolt or the Iron Crown. Like I said, I do love Temporal Forces, and I think those special illustration rares are amazing buys, especially right now, because I do think they're going to shoot up. But we have the Raging Bolt as the number 1 card from Temporal Forces. And here we go. Here we head to our top 10. That Parent I mentioned earlier is at about $71. It's number 3 in Twilight Masquerade, followed by number 2, the Carmine there for $82. We have the Charizard from Paldean Fates as the number one card from Paldean Fates. And then we have that Magikarp as the number one card from Paldea Evolved. By far and away the most expensive illustration rare. I don't think we're going to see any other illustration rare come close to this unless we have that Eevee set having a bunch of illustration rares of Evolutions. Then we will definitely see. If there's like an Umbreon illustration rare in that set, that is going to be incredibly expensive. But then we have two super controversial promos, the Pikachu Van Gogh and the Squirtle 151. Both of these were only obtained by purchases on the not on 151, on the Pokemon Center website. And a lot of people were not able to get it. So me personally, I do have the Pikachu or the Squirtle. The Pikachu I don't have. Not too upset about it. It is what it is, but a good looking card nonetheless. At number 3, we have the Terapagos. So the number 1 card from Stellar Crown right now. Beautiful card. I know there's a lot of mixed opinions on it, but I absolutely love this card. I think it's an amazing card. At number 2, we have Charizard at $123. This is the number 1 chase card from 151, and rightfully so. It's the most popular card in Pokemon history, and out of Gen 1 Pokemon, everybody loves Charizard. That was the chase 20 years ago. It's still the chase now, and it's a great looking card. And at number 1, by far and away, more than double the number 2, we have the Greninja for about $280. So close to that $300 mark, which is crazy to just think of a card being $300 in Scarlet Violet era. This card's growing on me. I like it. I didn't like it at first. I like it now. I would never pay $280 for it. I probably wouldn't even pay $200 for it, to be honest. But we are going to see this card go up more and more, I do believe. So when we compare everything, our total was $3,865.14 for our top 100, bringing the average card to $38.65. If we want to look at the median, it's about $28, so a little less, because we do have like the cards like Greninja that shoot up the average quite a bit. And here's the breakdown of all the sets. I included on the right side the delta from last list. So anything in green means it's grown that much since the last time. Anything in red means it's decreased. So Twilight Masquerade, we have 13 cards in there. The list increased 13 from the last list because I didn't include Twilight Masquerade. Scarlet 151 has 16. That's 2 less from last time, and you can get the picture here. But like I said, Obsidian Flames, Scarlet Violet base have the least presence in this top list, only covering 4% of the list, with Twilight Masquerade, Shroud and Fable, Scarlet Violet 151 kind of leading the charge. So this is the last slide right here. We're just going to compare where we were from June to September. So in just a matter of 3 months, we've had 3 sets released: Twilight Masquerade, Shrouded Fable, and Stellar Crown. And yes, Twilight Masquerade released at the end of May, but when I made this list, it was only a week old, so I didn't want to include it in the June one, which is why it's only included now. But we have these numbers just jump from it, like the overall delta is a little over $1,000. Yes, a lot of that is the Greninja, but either way, we're seeing a lot of growth in the Scarlet and Violet era, and with the way sets are coming out, as far as the Team Rocket set, the Pikachu set, we're only going to see this number grow quite a bit. So again, if you want to see a Sword and Shield comparison to see how Scarlet and Violet is doing with Sword and Shield, let me know in the comments. I'm looking at the time right now. I did go 20 minutes, so I am so sorry for doing that. But if you're still here, leave a like saying that I saved the whole time. But until then, I'm Rich from Rich Pokebutts. I'll see you all in the next video.